Well, what made me want to become a flight attendant was because, for one, I knew what I wanted to do when I retired. Well, in my early in my 20s, I knew I wanted to just be able to just get up, travel the world when I'm retired. Like, I'm not one of those people that's going to work until I'm 70, 80 years old. I want to retire, travel the world, and just be free. And so, coming up, I'm pretty sure you can attest to this. When I was a kid in school, we didn't see male flight attendants. It was always gender specific roles. Like, there were women nurses, men were doctors, men were firefighters, policemen. Flight attendants were always women, and pilots were always men. So subconsciously, I knew that that wasn't life, but it never dawned on me, even after college, to go apply to be a flight attendant or go apply to, be a pilot, anything like that. Until just one day, I was just like, you know what? I kept trying to get on with the airline, from baggage claim to, from, excuse me, not baggage claim, but ramp, customer service, gate agent. I tried all that and could never get my foot in the door at all whatsoever. And then one day I'm on YouTube, just type in, male flight attendant. Because like you said, what I've heard that is all flight attendants were gay. Wasn't, like they made it seem like there were no straight flight attendants whatsoever. So I just typed in male flight attendants, and I found one guy and started doing the process, and I've been a flight attendant ever since. Once I got hired and been in the door, don't plan on leaving anytime soon. Um, I do plan on going to a legacy, but it's only one particular legacy that I want to go to, for the simple fact of they have a they have a base where I live. Even if I don't get base where I live, once I get out of training, I still have that opportunity to transfer back to base. Versus if I go with another airline that does not have a base where I live, there's no opportunity for me to even try to transfer back. I will have to become a commuter, and that commuting sucks. Commuting is, I see what people go through all the time, and that's something that I personally don't want to do at all, period, because you never know. You might not get on the flight might be oversold, it might be overbooked, or it might cancel. Weather delays versus I can just get in my car, drive to base, and not have to worry about anything. Or even the fear of sleeping in the airport or trying to have to pay money for a hotel just because you got stuck because you couldn't get home. So I plan on making this a career until I retire. I'm only 35, so I have a good ways to go before I can retire. But that's what I plan on doing, is staying in this career.
I've always felt lucky that I didn't have to commute in my career. I've always been based in San Francisco. I grew up in the Bay Area, and it was just easy. I can't even imagine this job commuting. A lot of us do. You'd be surprised how many people are commuting even with the mainline airlines. And I've always gone back and forth when people ask, should I be a flight attendant? I was a recruiter for my airlines about a couple of years ago, and I would get a lot of people from regional or just plain old people who've never even heard about the job come and apply for the job. And I've always struggled with that, should you go regional first? Should you go mainline? Are you going to make it a career? Um, a lot of people think that one is better than the other, that if your mainline is better or the regional, people go there for a little bit and then they transfer over to the mainline. But I think you guys have like flight attendants who've been at regional for many years.
Oh yeah, and it boils down to quality of life for some people. Meaning, if I go to a mainline, I'm going to be on reserve for X amount of years. Versus if I go to a regional, I'll have a line within 6 months to a year. Or like for my instance, I have I'm based where I live, so I don't have to worry about commuting, crash pad, and pretty much get whatever it is that I want to, as far as scheduling goes. So to say one is better than the other, it all depends on the person. Some people don't want to go mainline. Some people don't want
Right.
to do that. They're comfortable with what they're doing now, and it's the quality of life that they're looking for versus the money.
Exactly. Yeah. I was recruiting. I would see a lot of, I wouldn't say racism, but I saw a lot of people of color not being represented and getting hired, and I never knew why. So when I got into recruiting, it was just I didn't see us apply for the position. And I think that a lot of people, especially Black people, don't know the whole scope of this job. And so whenever I was out, I would bring my business card with me. And like if I was at Walmart and I see this person, I see the personality, and I'm like, gosh, she'd be great as a flight attendant. I would hand them my card and it's like, you should go and apply for one of these airlines. I would, give them my number and say, hey, call me. I explain the profession to them, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And it's funny because I think last year I ran into somebody who I gave them my card, and we finally flew together, and I saw the card that I gave her. I think it was like 6 years ago, and she was like, "I'm here because of you," and that felt a lot because she had left Walmart. She didn't even think that big that she could be a flight attendant, with her experience of she just wanted to have a nice job and a normal family and just keep it simple. But now she's seeing the world, and that felt good to me. But yeah, I remember like classes back in my days, we would have 60 in a class, and there'd be one Black guy, maybe 2 Black girls in the West, mostly white, maybe 1 or 2 Asians. And that was it. That's still going on today. When we were hiring a lot a couple of years ago, it was still just the one Black guy and maybe a couple of Black girls. And even when I'm on the flight, you probably know this, but you're the only one. I was like, okay, out of 10 of us, I'm the only Black guy every single flight for 30 years.
Well, see, down here it's a little bit different because in Atlanta, the population the demographic is a little bit different. So it's more. I've flown with more Black people than I have white people, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've done more than the opposite. So I mean, I guess, and it just could be just randomly how it happens and how it just falls. But I mean, and like I said, it's Atlanta, and mostly the demographic here is Atlanta is considered a Black city in some sense. I'm from the Metro Atlanta area originally. So I grew up here, so it's nothing. This is nothing new to me, but I don't know. I don't, like you said, representation is everything. And even when I go home and I stop at the store and I'm in uniforms, or if I go somewhere to eat, like stop and get something to eat on the way home, people always ask me, how can I be a flight attendant? Even when I used to take the train from home, because the train was my way of kind of clearing my head versus driving. And you have to worry about traffic, telling my son, move over, let me get over. That way my head is clear. So I just take the train. I can put on my headphones, kind of clear my head before I start a trip. And people on the train were like, hey, are you a pilot? I say, no, I'm a flight attendant, because they don't know the difference. And a lot of them don't know the difference in a uniform. And they'll ask me, well, can I be one too? And I'm like, sure. I said, all you have to do is be 21, have a clean record, and basically high school diploma. And I said, that's pretty much really in customer service experience, and that's pretty much it.
I was saying, pass the drug test. That was one of the big things when I was recruiting, that a lot of people made it all the way. And then I was like, well, she didn't make it. Well, she went to medical, didn't pass that little test. So make sure you guys are clean before you even apply.
Yeah, I did. I traveled before. Basically mostly cruises, mostly. But as far as internationally, flying internationally, no, I didn't. I didn't fly internationally before I started this job. But I went on a lot of cruises, so I've been through the Caribbeans and Mexico, pretty much, is what I did. And I've of course, United States, throughout the United States, but not anything on a scale of international. That was my plan. I think a year before I got my CJO with this, my plan was to travel international, got my passport and everything. And then that's when I got this job, and then it just started kicking off all the things that I had planned on, and countries that I planned on going to.
The reason why I bring that up, because like I had never traveled when I had become a flight attendant, and a lot of people think of this job of what they see, the customer service aspect of it. You're on the airplane, you're saying hello, goodbye, welcome aboard, something to drink, and not really seeing the lifestyle about it. I don't know if you noticed the backdrop here. I'm in Palm Springs, not home, and I'm melting in this 107 degrees and getting all wet. But it allowed me to have this lavish, I guess, life, or this lifestyle that I probably wouldn't be able to afford, the direction that I was going. Flying first class, serving kings and queens and presidents, just seeing the world. Like, one of my dreams was to see the Eiffel Tower. That was the dream, and that was my first international trip, and I was just overwhelmed because I was like, wow, little old me from small town America, and I'm here looking at the Eiffel Tower. So I always tell people, make sure you Google and make sure you know what a flight attendant does, and not, even if the pay is not that great. Let's say you're working at regional and you're not making that much money, but it comes with a lot of benefits that a lot of people don't see, that you can come see the world. You know, money's not everything. That's what keeps me, I think, going for 32 years is the lifestyle.
Yeah, and like I tell people all the time, when I first started, I was like, you know what? Let me have a few days off. I can get on this plane and go somewhere. And so that's how I became the king of day trips. Like, I've even went to internationally on day trips. So I went to Santiago, Chile for a day trip. I had 12 hours on the ground. You know, a lot of people feel like they can't do that. They'll feel rushed. You know, that's them. Me, I didn't feel rushed. I got to, I did a little research before I went and saw specific things that I wanted to see. But what I try to tell people is the good thing about this job is you can always go back. You don't have to try to see everything all at one time. You can always go back. I know women who fly from New York to LA just to get waxed. I know a girl that goes to Paris just to get her nails done. And I've seen girls go to England to go to a certain beauty salon to get their hair done. I have a friend, she went to Italy all for one night because she wanted Italian food, which I'm guilty of that too. I went to Japan for a night because I wanted some Japanese food, but that's just the lifestyle that this job provides for you. You can do those things, so it comes with this bad, but I think the good outweighs the bad when it boils down to the flight attendant life, to the things that you can do, the places you can go, and the experiences that you can experience. They outweigh the bad to me. That's just me. Like I say, for me, it just outweighs the bad all the way around.
That's how I found you. I mean, I was thumbing through YouTube, and here's another brother looking like me, another flight attendant. And one of my favorite segments was when you went to Tijuana, but you were taking day trips. You were living that dream that I was doing in the 80s, which I don't see a lot of our flying partners doing that now. And just, you don't have to see, Paris wasn't built overnight, or the Eiffel Tower wasn't built overnight, but you think differently. And that's what got me to your channel. And then we started talking, and your personality shines out. And almost like I want to be a mentor to you, because I'm way ahead of you when the 30 years come, but I want to make sure you're on the right path, because there's some demons in this job too. We could talk about that on another subject or a segment, but yeah, it's just something that 32 years later is because, I was going for a day trip to get my hair did when I had hair. Yeah, so definitely when I tell people, do your homework, even though the pay may not be the greatest thing, but the pay grows.